How are you guys doing?
Fabulous.
Did I hear you? Doing
Sure.
pretty good. How was your homeschool?
Terrible. Trash.
Yeah, I didn't like my homeschool. My homeschool is Clovis East. Anyone here at Clovis East?
No, you're right. So it is trash.
I'm so sorry. Carp was my safe haven. Do you guys agree? Yes. Come here, it's awesome. So, like Ms. Mar said, I'm Julia. I was just like you guys. I was in biotech. I was actually in biotech for 2 years. So I was one of the last students that did biotech for 2 years, and then right after me, they went to the 1 year, so I'm sorry about that, guys. But I actually have some pictures for you. Do you guys want to see?
Yes.
It's about our teachers. So here's my junior year.
Oh,
Last.
Look at Parson.
Yeah, there's Mr. Carson. So Mr. Carson's first year of CART was
Oh, yeah.
same as me, first year of CART. We joined together. Mr. Carson was actually our student teacher in Kim. And this is Miss Wagman at the end. She left that year. She was my chemistry teacher, and I was really sad to see her go, but I think you guys would agree that it was awesome that Mr. Carson joined.
Yes.
And then you guys probably see this picture at Mr. Carson's desk, and someone has recognized her brother, but yes. Let's see, my senior year, I finally got some pictures with our teachers, and of course there needs to be silly ones, and of course people didn't get the memo, but that's normal. So Mr. Carson, I got the memo to be silly, and then Mr. Jordan, I got the memo to be silly, but you know.
I got one when this were so I did a text
Do it. I want it. So, anyway, so senior year, did I ask where are my seniors in here? There's no seniors in here? Oh, okay.
But
All
we're
right,
in
so my
here.
seniors, there was more than AF. So my senior year was pretty crazy. My first semester was really stressful. Was your guys' first semester stressful? With ACTs, SATs, writing essays, applying to colleges, not knowing where to go? Well, that was really stressful for me. But second semester was a breeze. I just tried not to get senioritis. By this time I had senioritis. Does anyone have senioritis? Yeah. I never went to Clovis East, but don't do that. But my first advice to you guys, you seniors and juniors who are going to be seniors, is that when you're transitioning from high school to college, to not be worried, to not be stressed, to not be nervous, because since you guys are in CART, you guys are prepared. It's just the same as going to college. I always heard, oh, CART prepares you for college. You don't need to worry about that. Well, I kept thinking, oh, because I'm going to be in biotech, I know more than my people at homeschool. True, I can get through my bio classes a little bit easier than them, but it prepared me in the way of the environment. So CART and biotech kind of set the precedence of what college classes are going to be like. They set the bar pretty high. They give us the respect that we're supposed to give our teachers. I'm pretty sure they respect us more than our homeschool teachers do. Well, you guys don't know. You're thinking of that one teacher. And the way that things are run is just how college is. So going into college, super easy. Just tell yourself you're going into CART, to another CART class, and you'll be good. So speaking of college, after I graduated from Clovis East in 2016, I went to Clovis Community. I just had to decide, I didn't get accepted to Fresno State. Is anyone thinking about going to Fresno State? Yeah, awesome. But I thought it'd just be easier to go to Clovis Community, get rid of my GED in there. And it was pretty easy. So I began as a bio major. Is anyone thinking about going to bio? There we go. But actually a couple weeks ago, I changed into psychology, which goes into my next advice for you. Don't be afraid of change. People kept telling me that in high school. I'm like, oh yeah, I can change if I want, but I don't really want to. I don't think I'm going to need to. Bio was pretty great. But I found that bio classes were a little bit harder for me. They weren't just for me. And I came to terms with the fact that it's okay. And I switched to psychology. And the main interest that I have falls both into bio and psych is genetics. So I just heard that you guys just finished your 3 bizarre diseases, right? So I did that my junior year, and that personal one that you guys had. So that personal one for me was literally me. It wasn't a family member, it was me. Because I have a neuromuscular disease in my legs and my feet. And if you think of the perfect family genome, my grandmother had 4 boys, 2 of them got the X, infected X. And one of them was my dad. And I am the only child, and I'm the only girl, so I got his projected X, so I have it. And that whole situation was so awesome to me that I was so interested in it. But then I was thinking, I'm like, man, if I want to do genetics, there's a geneticist, but that means med school. I don't want to go to med school. I want to have a family. I want to get married. I want to have a family one day. And going to med school means I don't start my career until I'm 30. And then how dare I even try to have kids? Because I just started my career. So I had this opportunity to actually shadow a geneticist at Valley Children's. I went into the patients' rooms. I saw kids. I saw parents. And there, just like college, there's all these opportunities that open up for you. At Valley Children's, the career of genetic counseling opened up to me. And genetic counselors, they're kind of like the middleman between a doctor and a patient. So a doctor comes in and says your child has this really bizarre disease that's a very long word because doctors went to med school. That's like drilled into them. They don't know how to speak human anymore. And they're saying your child doesn't have long to live. And parents are freaking out. They're like, I have no idea what they just said. All I know is that my kid's about to die. Or what the heck. Genetic counselors come in. They say, okay, your child has this. It's A, B, and C. This is what you need to expect. This is why your child has this symptom. Here are support groups. The counselor counsels them. And what's awesome about genetic counseling is that it's only a master's degree. So I can go to school, get my master's degree, I can be in genetics, I can be in the hospital environment, and I can have a family one day. So it worked out perfectly. So, speaking of genetics, you guys you're wrapping up your genetics, right? You guys did your 3 Bazaar, and you guys did Prince X. Prince X, do you guys remember Prince X? How you had to like draw the line? So, and then it ended up being like Mrs. Mar's son. Do you guys remember that? Who ended up killing him? Who ended up drawing that line on him? A few of you? So, honestly, they won't admit it, it's okay. So my senior year I did that one, and I can't remember if I did or not, but I do remember feeling really guilty. So you guys did. Okay, thank you. So, and then you guys also did that article on Iceland, right? How Iceland had that 100% like abortion rate when they find out that their fetus has Down syndrome. Correct? Do you guys remember that? Mm-hmm. Well, the main point of why I'm here is to actually speak on that. I'm here to speak on people with Down syndrome, not Down syndrome people. There is a difference, and I'm going to break it down for you guys. When someone has cancer, do you say she is cancer? No, that's really weird. In AM, someone started to laugh because it's really funny. She is cancer. That doesn't sound right. But no, she has cancer. Same goes for people with Down syndrome. They're not Down syndrome people. They are people with Down syndrome. Have you guys heard someone say, oh, autistic people? Did you guys know that autistic is not a word?
What is it?
It's not a word. It's people with autism. Because they are people first, then their disability. Disabled people, no, it's people with disabilities. Same with people with Down syndrome. I'm pretty sure in Iceland people would say Down syndrome people because they put the Down syndrome before the person. So I'm going to go over 3 attributes that I believe all of us either want to have, or we look to people to have, or we look up to someone who has these, and people with Down syndrome have these attributes. So the first one is they are inspirational. So meet Lucas. This is Lucas Warren. He is the now 2018 Gerber Baby spokesman. Gerber Baby chose him because, yes, he has Down syndrome, and because they want to take a stand against Planned Parenthood, who are trying to pass some law that will allow people to have an abortion when they find out that their fetus has Down syndrome, basically what Iceland's doing. And Warren's dad talks about, he hopes that, no, not Warren, that's what I was saying, Lucas's father talks about how he hopes that this will inspire people to accept and love people with Down syndrome and not limit them. And Lucas's mother talks about what I was talking about with you guys, that he may have Down syndrome, but Lucas comes first. Also, like all of us, he has a wonderful personality, and he has hit all the milestones of kids, meaning that he rolled over, he crawled, he walked, he spoke, he says mama, he says dada, he does everything that we did. And and in that he can be inspirational. My next one is that they are talented. I want you to meet Madeline. So Madeline is a model. She had a dream. We all have dreams. And her dream was to be a model. And she worked for it, and she became one when she was 18. She is now 20, so she's my age. And her talents are dancing. She goes to a dance studio. She even runs a dance studio. She helps run it. And she loves acting. So we all have talents. For us, it can be like science stuff, or loving science, or doing experiments and we don't fail as much. Or for Madeline, or for any of us, it can be sports, it can be dancing, it can be modeling. So my last attribute is they have a love life. So all of us have boyfriends or girlfriends, or we want to, or we want to get married. We want to have a love life, and so do they. So I actually have a video for us, and I will let you know that CNN put this only on their Facebook. So Facebook does that stupid thing where they have ads in the middle of their videos. I think we all know. So they're running an ad for this video.
How do I make happy? Like this. Right? Yes. He likes to do this to see it. Have mercy. Well, this is my crib. This is my movies. My girlfriend got me in as a gift. That's an award for best boyfriend. I know he's my dream girl. 1, 2, 3 pictures. This was on our first date. First house I dog. I thought a cat house. How's that thing? And you expect being your girlfriend. Oh yeah, that's right.
When Marissa and John first started dating, I was happy. I mean, what parent doesn't want their child to have everything in life? People have said to me, oh, John has a girlfriend? How is that possible? But then everything John does has surprised me. Marissa's never let her Down syndrome stop her from doing anything.
She's really elegant, really charming. I think he's really cute and I love his funny impressions. I can kill my wife. You know, if I did Morgan Freeman impression, my name is Morgan Freeman.
When Marissa and John get together, they like to go to the movies, they like to go out for dinner, they enjoy going out to hear live music.
I love that. Dancing, singing.
Oftentimes when Marissa and John go out dancing, they're the first ones out on the dance floor and getting the party started. I think sometimes people might be a little envious of what they have because they're present in the moment. They don't get bogged down by the traditional relationship issues.
The first day, we saw a movie with his 2 brothers. Oh yeah, we watched Kung Fu Panda 3.
Yes, dating's just a little different with someone who also has special needs.
As a rule, there's somebody generally with them or coming to pick them up when their time is finished because neither of them drive.
One of my worries was like public displays of affection. So actually I would talk to them about don't kiss too much out in public, use good manners, hold hands and a kiss on the cheek. Because unfortunately there still are people in the world that don't accept people who are different. Right now it's kind of hard because John's living out in Fresno and Marissa's here in the Bay Area, but we do try to make sure they get together a couple times a month.
How are you? Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's Friday.
PG-13.
That's what it's usually Friday, rated R.
So let's go FaceTime. texting. I could say that much. He's busy with school stuff on work. I was in Africa State. This program is called Wayfinders Program.
Wayfinders is a 2-year post-secondary program for students with intellectual disabilities. The goal of the program is to increase independence through peer inclusion, which is why we do it on campus.
I love having Joe's people who are coming with me. That's fun.
He lives in an apartment. They help them budget their money, so he pays his own rent and goes grocery shopping independently.
Magnifico.
He goes to academic classes and life skills types of classes.
There's a class about what is a ship class. It's a relationship class. I should have done that in the first place.
We've always had a super open relationship with Marissa. We've talked about sex, what's appropriate. We've talked about friendship. We've talked about stages of relationships. They go from 0 to 60 right away. They can meet on day 1 and they're engaged that night, and the next day they're planning their wedding.
Marriage. I was thinking of marrying her one day. Unless her wedding is a good time to propose yet.
No matter what happens between Marissa and John, I'm gonna support her 100%. If John ends up being the guy for her, great, we'll go for that. It's not my life, it's Marissa's life, and I just help her facilitate what she wants to do.
Being in love is so peaceful, lovely. Sometimes I do get butterflies into my stomach sometimes.
They just know that it feels good, and love should feel good. It doesn't matter whether they truly get what it means, but the essence of it is that it feels good, and if it feels good, then they're in love, yes.
I know he has Down syndrome, but I don't like to define him that way. And I don't want he and Marissa to be defined that way necessarily either, because they're both great people.
What I want people to know about people who have Down syndrome is they want the same thing as everybody else, and they're totally capable of being in a loving, caring relationship, and they thrive.
Love is love.
Love is love. I didn't get any more details than that.
They're pretty cute, huh? I like watching that video, it's funny. So that Wayfinders program that John went to is actually funny because I work for Wayfinders. And I have been one of John's job coaches. There we go. So Marissa also went to Wayfinders. That is how John found out about it. And Wayfinders is like what they said in the video. It is a 2-year post-secondary college program for students with disabilities. And what we do there, my job, is I work with them at work. So every semester the student gets a new job. They go and they interview and they build their resumes. I hear you guys are doing resumes right now. And so they do that also. And when they get their job, I go in with them and I coach